Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new series of TemTem. So, yes, I've been waiting for this game for quite a while. There has been a lot of hype about this game, a very Pokemon, I wouldn't say Pokemon copy, but a very much a Pokemon inspired game. But interestingly, the game is very much an online massive multiplayer game, which is obviously something that Pokemon isn't. And well, let's see if it lives up to the hype, and let's see if it's truly something that going forward might be able to bring a lot of the Pokemon audience to this platform. I'm really excited. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this journey with me as well. All right, let's get started. A new game. All right. First of all, I have to say, I have tried this game out for a little bit, and if there's one thing I would complain about, is a relatively lackluster character customization. It is not the most diverse in terms of choices that they give you, but hey, the game is very much still in early access. I guess I should have said that earlier, meaning that a lot of things, as we'll see soon enough, there's still a lot of things that are underway, that's in progress. So the game is by no means complete. But for those who wants to try it out, I definitely recommend it. But at the same time, for a price of I think $33 on Steam, it is not cheap for an early access game, but it's definitely something that has a lot to offer. And I think, for a playthrough, there's enough content for us to truly enjoy it. Alright, there we go. Oh, that looks good. Alright. This is what we're gonna go with. And lastly, let's see. How do we name? Alright. Alright, guys. I think that's gonna be us. Let's go right into this. Oh. That is one wicked looking mom. Are you still sleeping? Come on, wakey wakey. Ah, that's just perfect. There is nothing that reminds me more of Pokemon than waking up on a second floor room next to your mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna try to breeze through these conversations a little bit faster, but you guys feel free to pause the video anytime you want if you want to look at these conversations a little bit more closely. One Tempedia. Just what I wanted. You're an apprentice now, soon you'll be heading to the academia, so figure you need a good Tempedia. Well, thank you. Love you, Aina. That's one way to address your mom, I guess. So, do you know how it works? Yep. I always wondered why I guess maybe not every single one of them, but there are quite a lot Pokemon characters that are always in a kind of a fatherless home, which is very interesting. But here we go. So certainly you can tell just by the start of this game, obviously very much Pokemon inspired. Even the way the whole game begins with you waking up on the second floor room, coming downstairs, meeting the professor. Very much the same plot that we're also familiar with all the Pokemon games. Giving me a send-off party. Oh, there's Max. Guess who this is gonna be? This goofy-looking guy. Yep, this is TemTem's version of your rival. Just like I said, every step of the way, everything you encountered at the beginning, very, very much reminiscent of the Pokemon games. And here's Professor Constantinos. The alter ego of Professor Oak. I like the voice acting of this game. Top tier quality. Alright, shall we? Well, before we get to the next part of this game, let's just take a quick look of what this game looks like. I have to say, visually, I really like the way the world is designed. It is a very pleasing combination of colors. There's not a lack of color. It's very vibrant. It feels very much alive, but at the same time, the color just seems to blend together so well. Kudos to the art design team. But yeah, looks fantastic, and I do like the music. It doesn't really overshadow the rest of the gameplay. It's there, it's in the background, it's pleasing, so pretty good. Alright, let's get our first TemTem, shall we? Please do not disturb. Well, guess what we're gonna do? Disturb. Huh? Oh my god, the voice acting. Oh, that is a cool looking TemTem. Alright, here we go. Again, another parallel to the Pokemon games. Very much the same. Get to choose from one of 3 potential Pokemons, but it's there we go. Potential Pokemons. How many times am I gonna get that wrong? Potential TemTems. But here we go. So the strategy that we're going to employ here is to pick the one that I like the most visually. So in other words, there really isn't a strategy, guys. We're just gonna go with the one that I think is the coolest, and this is gonna be this guy. This little monkey. I have previously tried, as I was testing this game out, I've tried this guy, which I believe is called Hushik. Quite interesting, I do like it, but overall, I don't quite like the art design of it as much as the other 2. I also like this one here, this little, I don't know quite, I'm not quite sure, but it does remind me of a dinosaur or maybe a rhino, but this time we're gonna go with this. Earth and is melee, right? So Smazzy is a melee TemTem. It is strong against Earth and Crystal. That makes sense, but it's weak against Mental. I won it in the pub where I was in Lockburg. Heady days. Yes. Okay, so one thing I want to quickly touch on is TemTem, given that it's an online MMORPG in a sense, it is very much focused on not necessarily focused on PvP, but the game definitely makes PvP a larger component of it. And one thing that they do that is by making the so-called SVs and the TVs, we'll see in a little bit, very, very apparent and transparent with the gamers. So what SVs and TVs does, they essentially allow the gamers to, min-max their TemTems in a way that can maximize their playstyle the most. It's very similar to the EVs and IVs that's existing in the Pokemon games. For those who are familiar with Pokemon. And SVs and TVs are very much exactly, or pretty much exactly the same. That's what I was going to say. But they do show it, unlike Pokemon, where you kind of really can't see what your Pokemon's IVs and EVs are. Here, it's very apparent. They make it as just part of your overall stats presentation. So very, very easy for you to see, and very, very easy for you to kind of manipulate and min-max your TemTem. And it's all about getting your TemTem to the maximum efficiency state in a way that you can maximize it in a PvP battle. But here we go. Fever Rush. Let's see what it does. When getting a status condition gets attack. Alright, that's pretty good. Given that, we're going to be a high attack, hopefully. Looks like it's one of our higher stats along with speed. So that's always a good combination. Alright, should we rename this? Let's just go with Smazzy. Alright. Teacher's pet. Alright, here we go. Our very first TemTem battle. Let's see. So another thing before we go into before we go too much into this game, one thing about the combat system here. So TemTem has something that's a little bit different from Pokemon in a way that they have this stamina bar down here. So the skills, unlike Pokemon where the skills are limited by the number of moves is available, and moves are going to differ from skill to skill. Some skills has 5 moves. Once you run out, you cannot use it again. Others have 20 and you can use it a lot more frequently. TemTem doesn't have that, so you can use these skills as many times as you want. However, the number of skills you can use is limited by your stamina bar. So as we can see here, this kick skill has a number 8 next to it, and this indicates how many stamina it's going to cost to cast this skill. So if I cast it 3 times, I would then deplete my stamina bar, and in a sense, I will no longer be able to use any skills. But, you do get to recharge a little bit of stamina at the end of each round. So, it's not going to run out that fast. And also, one thing you can do is this option here where you can rest and essentially forego a certain round and not take any action, but recover a much larger amount of stamina. So it's very interesting in that way. Stamina management is definitely going to play a part into TemTem's gameplay, and I think that's quite interesting. It's a welcomed deviation from the traditional Pokemon gameplay. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can take down our rival. Last time when I tried this, I did not. I guess this is just meant to be. The game must have designed it this way so that you cannot win your very first rival battle. But that's okay. We'll get him. Max, we're coming for you. Ooh. And here we go. We get another TemTem right off the bat. It's great. 2i, wind TemTem. It's a bird, spoil sport. Let's see what it does. Damage down to multiple target technique is increased by 25%. That's pretty good. Alright, let's give this another name, shall we? Sazu. Alright. For anyone out there who knows what this is a reference of, please leave your guess on the comments down below. But I think many of you will probably understand where this is coming from. The voice acting. I wonder if they will have actual voice acting incorporated into the final game. But I guess at this moment it's not really, it doesn't really bother me all that much. Alright, here we go. See? Guys, now we can see there's another player standing right here. And this is where the multiplayer element comes into this game. You can see the game itself. I think one thing with Pokemon is you always have this very well designed world, but it just felt a little bit empty. You always felt like there's something missing there. You know, you're on this journey and it kind of feels lonely. But here we are in TemTem. I think that kind of goes out the door because now we're going to be on the journey with a lot of others. See, there are a couple of people over there. It seems like they're fighting each other, which is always interesting. Yeah, in this game you can do these combats so easily with another player. PvP is very enabled in this game. Yep, here's another element that reminds me of Pokemon, where you just walk by someone and then they see you and, well, you engage in a fight. Winged Blade. Alright, let's try to focus down one of them first. Oh, and here's another thing. In case if you haven't noticed, TemTem is always going to be in a double battle mode. Every single fight that you get in, you're always going to have the option to deploy 2 TemTems, and in most cases, the enemy is always going to deploy 2 TemTems as well. And one of the reasons for this is the game actually comes with a co-op mode, and it allows you to play with another player, you know, a friend of yours or whomever that you just met on the in the game, and you can tag team together. Each one of you can bring 3 TemTems with you, and each one of you would then deploy one of your TemTems and do this type of 2v2. And you guys can tag team together and explore the world and do quests together. So it's very much, you know, designed in a way to allow players to co-op and utilize the multiplayer functionality of these games. So it's very nice. Alright, let's see if we can get this Peggy Pig down. I do like the battle music. It's a little bit of a string going on in the background. Very nice. And the animation looks very good as well. Oh, here we go. Alright, we're ready. One thing I have to say, I do wish the TemTem designs are a little bit more, I would say, a little bit more detailed, a little bit more intricate. I think they're cool. It's not a bad design, but I think for a lot of online multiplayer type of players are probably looking for something a little bit more mature, a little bit more detailed. And I think these are definitely nice, but maybe appeals to maybe more of a younger audience. And I'm not sure that's exactly the audience that the devs have had in mind when they're thinking about making an online alternative to Pokemon. Alright, let's see the Martial Strike. Alright, there we go. We learned a new skill. Oh, and another thing that's interesting about TemTem is not the leveling system, but the evolution system. It's going to be a little bit different than we're used to in Pokemon, but we'll talk more about that once we get to, once we get to a certain evolution point. Let me come back, and I believe, oh, there's nothing. All right, let's go. Let's go catch up with Max and Professor Imbrico Damar. Imbrico Damar. Even the background music definitely kind of remind me of Pokemon as well. It is a Pokemon inspired game. Right, here we go. What do we have here? Sazu. Oh no, that's mine. Kaku and Swally. Three-turn Toxic Spore. Alright, we definitely need to keep an eye on not only our HP bar but also our stamina bar, because when you run out of stamina and you keep on using your skills, you actually pay for it by losing HP, and that's not something we want. But it's not something that we need to really worry that much about in these earlier fights. They're pretty straightforward. Alright, I think just to be on the safe side, maybe let's go ahead and use a bomb. Let's heal up just a little bit. We'll find plenty of those later on in the game. Sometimes in the wild encounters, you do kind of run into a single enemy, and that's always going to be a much easier battle because you still have, just as part of your default choice, to have both of your TemTems deployed. So it's always going to be a 2v1 unless you only have one active TemTem. Yeah, these fights are going to be very, very easy for us. But actually, I think TemTem is actually quite a bit harder than Pokemon. Especially from the gameplay perspective, I felt like the last time when I first tested out, I played quite a bit and I definitely found the gameplay a bit harder. It was definitely challenging, even just trying to breeze through some of the earlier areas. It was not as easy as you would think. Alright, here we go. Let's take out Kaku. And let's try to take out Swally as fast as we can. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Alright, here we go. And one other thing about TemTem, I would say so far, you know, the game is definitely, I think, is packed with a lot of content, especially for a game that's still very much in early access. But I do notice that one thing they are still lacking a little bit is on the diversity of TemTems. And I think that's understandable. The game is still pretty much in its infancy, and we're not going to have that many right off the bat. I think so far there are about 140, almost 150 TemTems out there, but of course some of them are evolutions of others. So I think overall maybe there's around 80 TemTems altogether. So if you think about it, compared to Pokemon where you have maybe nearly, say, 1,000 Pokemons out there now, it definitely doesn't compare in that sense. But I think we can all understand that, given that this game is very much in early access. But hopefully in the long run, that's something that the devs will continue to work on, and we would love to see a little bit more diversity in the amount of TemTems out there. Lara? These girls, they've got the memories of my grandmother. Always gets my name wrong with my cousin. Let's see this unicorn looking thing. Let's be effective. Nothing super effective at the moment. And oh, I think one thing, I think maybe you guys have already figured out, but there is definitely a kind of a, not a class system, but a element system, right? Different Pokemons, different TemTems gonna have different elements, and some of them are weaker to others, and some of your elements are going to be stronger against. And the reason why I'm focusing on other TemTems that's not Swally, because Swally overall, I think it's only got the poison skill, which is damage over time, and I think we can handle that. I would rather take down TemTems that would do direct damage to us. Let's see. Psypod. There we go. Alright, 3 down, 1 to go. Or at least I think. Yep. And guys, let me know what you think about this game so far in the comments down below. Very interesting to see, especially those of you who have played Pokemon. Does this live up to your expectation? Would you be interested in playing a game like this, knowing that Pokemon are still spamming individual games every single year? Like, would this be something that you would consider as an alternative to Pokemon, or something that you play where you're sick of the traditional Pokemon games? Alright, we might be in a little bit of a pinch here. Maybe let's heal up first. And let's focus down this guy. Kalazoo. Decrease defense. Bubble, so I guess this is a water type. Every time when I look at my starter, I always think he's a fire type. I guess that's just because of several years of conditioning from the Pokemon games. I always think one of them's gonna be fire, one of them's gonna be water, and one of them's gonna be grass. But guys, we're playing TemTem here. Alright, we should be good. Let's finish it with Martial Strike. Is it Martial Strike? It is. Alright. And this thing here, this is essentially a healing station. And I really like the animation. It looks very cool. And let's see. There we go. There's another new TemTem. I believe it's called Scale. Yep. Alright, let's focus down Scale first. Maybe we can showcase our AoE skill a little bit this fight. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Shrill voice. Here we go. See, that skill definitely took a lot of our stamina. We will recover a little bit. I believe it's either 3 or 4 each turn. Genki, another new TemTem. I believe this is an electric type. Alright, we need to watch out in terms of our stamina usage. So yeah, it recovered by 3. at some point we'll need to let Sazu maybe take a turn to rest. Actually, I think we might be okay. Well, now we're down to 0, so definitely need to watch out for that. Yep, so whenever you get down to 0, the game will automatically force you to take a turn to rest. So that's also something that we'll try to avoid, is getting us completely down to 0 or even lower than 0, which, like I said earlier, you have to pay by losing some health. We'll just rest, and we'll let Smazzy take care of this guy. And guys, this is what I mean by, it's a little bit harder than Pokemon, because I can hardly remember any time where my health would drop this low just trying to get to the first town. Most of the time in Pokemon, it's pretty straightforward. Alright, let's see. I think at some point we need to heal up again. I think we're pretty close to the next town. Oh, there goes Mazzy. Alright, Sazu, you have to carry. Yeah, I think early game in Pokemon, I can hardly remember any time where I cannot kill a wild Pokemon without just within, one or two, or more than one or two skills. I think most of the time, pretty straightforward. Oh, I was not paying attention. This might be the end of us. Alright guys, let's see what we can do. First, let's use Revive. Yeah, Revive. When was the last time you had to use Revive before even getting to the first town in Pokemon? It's unimaginable. But TemTem definitely brings it to next level when it comes to difficulty. And I think that's okay. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. Something a little bit more challenging and a little bit more strategic, but still have the same core mechanic as Pokemon. I think it's great. Alright, shall we? Just one more. And one other thing I'm struggling a little bit with TemTem is the kind of affinity or the type matchup. I'm still not very used to all the type matchup in this game. It's a little bit different than Pokemon. There's some similarities, the obvious fire would be strong against nature, nature would be strong against water, water would be strong against fire, that type of thing. But once you go beyond that, it definitely differs a little bit from Pokemon, and I'm still trying to get used to it. Alright. Let's get this over with. Not quite. Of course, we also have the option of running away from wild battles, but we can manage it. Let's try to get ourselves as much XP as we can. Alright, here comes another trainer battle. Or I believe they're called tamers. So, probably need to top ourselves off again. Fire, nature. Nice of the game to give us a little bit of a type tutorial. Oh, look at this guy. Alright, let's showcase our new skill. Feather Gatling. The animations definitely looks pretty cool, and it definitely carries the appropriate weight with it. I really like that. I feel like compared to some of the older Pokemon games where the animations doesn't even quite match what you would imagine it to be, I think this is pretty good. Sand Splatter. Alright, here we go, a new skill. And a little bit of money each fight as well. Only if that works in real life. Alright. I think we're... one more fight maybe. Let's fight them. Will this be effective? I'm not sure. I believe these are nature. Yep. So wind is not very effective against nature. We'll remember that. Actually, yep. So you guys, you can see the Shrill Voice now is going to cost 12 stamina, where we only have 10. That means we have to pay for it by losing 2 points in HP. So, and also the next turn we're going to lose a turn as well because we'll be overexerting ourselves. So let's avoid doing that. But there are definitely times where strategically that still makes sense. But I think we can get through this without doing that. I like you can see the tamers in the background as well. Everything looks very nice. I really like the color scheme. Very vibrant, but not overly saturated. We'll see about that. Oh my god. Alright, guys. Let's be the man and run away. Also, I like, you know, the dialogue with the characters a little bit better. Like, especially the older Pokemon games, where you just run into someone and it's like, Gentleman Jack, and he says, "This breakfast is delicious. Now let's fight." You know, just doesn't quite make sense, but I think all the conversations in these instances has been relatively reasonable. Something that would kind of make sense, but still, it's weird that you just walk around and people would just challenge you over and over again for no reason. See, we just overexerted ourselves, and now Sasu's dead because not because the damage inflicted by the enemy, but the fact that we were doing damage to ourselves by overexerting. So we definitely, oh guys, we don't have a revive. This might be the end of us. Alright, we shall see. We shall see if Smazzy can do it, but against a level 11 Paharak? I'm not sure. Seems to be a little bit of a lag as well. We've got a chance. See, our passive just procced, and we won. You wonder why? Because the same thing happened to our opponent. He essentially overexerted himself and died of overexertion. Don't worry, Professor understands. Go there, my friend. I'll take care of the kids. Louis Souvenir. Solaro River, Academia, and yeah, you guys probably have seen the mention of Dojo. That's essentially the equivalent of Pokemon gyms. And that's a Pokemon Center. Or are they called Tem Center? I'm not sure. So we shall find out in a little bit. That'll be the last thing we do before the end of this episode. Brico de Mar, peaceful fishing village. It's called Temporium. Interesting. Alright guys, we've got to Brico de Mar. I think this is a good place for us to end this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like and leave your comments down below. And if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much and see you in the next episode.